This week on TGC News, Big Blue drops 2 new wheels, High Point and Ruger think alike, and Vista Outdoor shakes things up. Tack is no longer just making suppressor wraps and pouches. They're jumping headfirst into the precision rifle game with products like the Cuddle Bag, the Boss Bag, the Ammo Book, and the Rifle Handle. You pick the colors, they build the gear. And because you're awesome and you watch TGC, they're doing a special discount code for you. TGC10 will get 10% off your entire order over at coltac.com. Welcome back to another episode of TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is John Patton. I've got an announcement. This coming Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be joining forces with Scalpel Arms once again. Some of you may remember the auction we did for the Texas hurricane relief. We're doing that again. We'll be auctioning off super limited edition PMags as well as some other limited edition stuff to help raise money for relief efforts in Puerto Rico. We will not be giving the money to some huge charity where the CEO makes millions. It'll be going straight to people that are on the ground in Puerto Rico helping. They were absolutely devastated by Hurricane Maria and months later are still in peril down there. We're going to try to help as much as we possibly can. Again, that's Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the TGC Facebook page. Keep an eye out. Now, the news. Let's start with some race guns, shall we? Smith & Wesson has just announced the expansion of the Performance Center lineup with the addition of the 686 and 686 Plus, designed for competition use. They already have a few variants that lean towards competition use, but according to Big Blue, these are designed for speed. Being that the first gun I ever purchased was a 686 Plus with a 6-inch barrel, these hold a really special place in my heart. It's kind of like seeing a proper race car version of your first car. These new guns come with a non-fluted cylinder, a speed release for that cylinder, an interesting rib and front sight setup, and of course that renowned Performance Center tune-up. The 686 comes with a 4-inch barrel and holds 6 rounds of .357 Magnum, while the 686 Plus comes with a 5-inch barrel and holds 7 rounds of .357. Both are listed at an MSRP of $966. I know that revolvers are certainly not as popular as semi-autos with the TGC audience, but I have to say that there's something very special about a properly tuned wheel gun. It just feels incredible in the hand. It's very mechanical. What do you guys think? Would you spend nearly $1,000 on something like this, or would you rather buy a bog standard wheel gun? Or maybe, would you rather spend that money on something else? And in 10mm is best millimeter news, High Point has announced that they'll be producing their carbine in a 10mm. The trigger is atrocious and the magazines are mediocre at best, but for the money you spend, the High Point carbines actually aren't bad. And now they've turned it up to 10. Pricing was announced recently on their Facebook page at $389.99, which means we'll probably see it in stores for about $375. I'm very curious to see how these things hold up. I have one in .45 and I really genuinely like it. And because one 10mm is never enough, Ruger has just announced that they'll be making the Super Red Hawk wheel gun in 10mm. I think it's interesting that they felt the need to forego putting this in the GP100 series, which is typically in .357, and went straight to the platform that handles the likes of .454 Casull and .480 Ruger. I guess there will be zero worry about that thing coming apart, even with the hottest ammo out there. The standard features apply. Slots for scope rings, a nice rubber grip with wood inserts, and a 6.5-inch barrel. It also weighs in at a whopping 54 ounces, so I'm betting that the 10mm will be a pussycat when it comes to recoil in this thing. Pricing on these is set at $1159 MSRP. Here comes that struggle bus again. This time it's visiting Vista Outdoor, aka one of the largest companies in the gun industry. They're the parent company of brands like Federal, Savage, CCI, Stevens, Speer, Camelback, Bushnell, and a ton more. In an earnings report published on November 9th, the new CEO, Chris Metz, said, "While I've only been here a short time, I realize that we have much to do. We must make significant changes, act decisively, and move quickly to reposition and restabilize the company. We will take an aggressive position on profit improvement through both margin expansion and cost reductions across all areas of core business." AKA, people are getting fired. In that same release, it was announced that the president of the shooting sports segment, Bob Keller, is gone as of November 17th. They are eliminating that position altogether. Much like every other company that I've mentioned recently, Vista is reporting drops in sales in the double-digit percentages. They were down 14% year over year, with gross profit being down 25%. Of course, this is slightly better than some others, but the numbers still do not bode well. Metz is spot on about needing to move quickly, but I would love to see him also focus on innovation along with making money and cutting costs. The only real innovation I've seen from the Vista camp this year has been the 224 Valkyrie, and the performance numbers on that are still unproven. Everything else they've done this year has been expanding on other lines of products. That is not a bad thing. Offering more is never a bad thing, but true innovations could give the company a major boost. What would you guys like to see from Vista? I know they're watching. Right now, they're watching. So leave a comment down below and let them know what you want them to make. Rann CLP offers an entire lineup of non-toxic cleaners and lubes for the discerning shooter. You can use their bore and bolt to clean up carbon, fouling, or rust, and then follow it up with their CLP, or for hot and heavy applications, the hog grease, for before, during, and after the range. Find out what the nano-infused bio-friendly lineup from Rann CLP is all about over at rannclp.com.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
This is kind of a different good guy with a gun story. This is the story that mainstream media hates. As you probably know already, there was a very bad mass shooting in Sutherland Springs, Texas last week. A deranged young man went into a church and murdered 26 people and injured 27. And that bastard was stopped by a good guy with a gun. My understanding is that as this was transpiring, as the guy went into the church, Stephen Williford, an NRA instructor who lived just about a block away, was alerted by his daughter that someone was shooting up the church. He immediately went to his safe, grabbed an AR-15, a handful of ammo and mags, started loading them as he went to engage. He encountered the assailant whilst the psycho was exiting the church and took cover behind a car and had a small back and forth shootout. The shooter was hit a couple times in between the body armor he was wearing. He then was able to jump in a car and drive away. The good guy, knowing full well that this guy was off his rocker, looks around trying to figure out what to do. He looked to his left and there was a pickup truck at a stop sign. He tells the man in the truck what's happening and they both take off together and chase down the shooter. They go for a couple minutes at high speed and the shooter hit a barrier and then ended up in a ditch where he later died of a self-inflicted shot. Now there are a few things that I can take away from this. First and foremost, if it's legal where you live, you should have a gun loaded and accessible at all times. Second, the guy who engaged was an actual NRA instructor and knew how to use his firearm. He sought out training and was able to properly engage. The reality is that this psychopath could have gone after way more people if Williford didn't show up and engage. We're seeing all kinds of political nonsense in the wake of this tragedy. Assault weapons, chainsaw bayonets, uninformed pundits spouting off about guns when they've only been educated by other pundits who know nothing about guns. It's vicious. The true American patriot is kind of under attack because of the acts of a murderer. It amazes me that there are people that would rather blame an inanimate object rather than the truth. The mental health problem we have here in the United States. We shouldn't blame an entire religion or political party for the acts of a few, so why punish all law-abiding gun owners for the acts of a few? This is such a tough story to cover, much like the Vegas shooting was tough. What I want to know is what you think of the situation. What is the one major thing that you took away from this? Let me know down in the comments. And that is it for this week's show, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it around with your friends. That's a massive help. Do not forget to get subscribed. You won't want to miss a single week of the show. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.
The shirts worn in today's video on the Gun Collective have been provided by Patriot Patch. Closed captions have also been brought to you by Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to click the link in the video description to check out all of their great products, including their cleaning mats.